One standard galactic year after the Battle of Sol System, the Great Hall of the newly constructed Unity Station hummed with activity. The massive space station, orbiting at Earth's L5 point, represented everything the Harmony Protocol had achieved. Centaurian crystal architecture merged seamlessly with human engineering. Andromedian energy systems pulsed in perfect sync with Nexillion neural networks, and former enemies worked side by side toward a shared future. Commander Riya Patel, daughter of the legendary director Jasmine Patel, stood at the observation deck, watching ships from dozens of species dock at the station. Each vessel displayed the new symbol of the Galactic Concordat, a spiral of interconnected technologies, representing the unity of all sapient species. Still hard to believe, isn't it? A familiar voice said behind her. Riya turned to find former Grand Admiral Zelker, his scales now permanently shifted to the white of enlightenment. The once mighty Imperial commander had become one of the strongest advocates for galactic unification after experiencing the Harmony Protocol. "What's hard to believe?" she asked. "That we're all working together, or that it took us so long to figure out we could?" Zelker's secondary eyes blinked in amusement. "Both. The Empire spent millennia believing that power came from purity, pure bloodlines, pure technology, pure doctrine. Now look at us." They watched as a team of human, Zeraxian, and Centaurian scientists guided a new hybrid vessel into dock. The ship's design would have been considered an abomination a year ago. Now it represented the future, technologies working in harmony, becoming more than the sum of their parts. "The latest reports from the synthesis labs are promising," Riya said, checking her neural interface. The widespread adoption of the Coalition's communication technology had transformed galactic society. Dr. Himura's team has successfully merged Mreth temporal mechanics with Andromedian energy manipulation. They think they've found a way to heal damaged star systems. "Healing stars," Zelker mused. "A year ago, we would have called that impossible. But then, we said the same thing about the Harmony Protocol." Their conversation was interrupted by a soft chime, indicating the start of the Concordat's main session. Together, they made their way to the Great Chamber, where representatives from over 50 species gathered to shape the galaxy's future. Ambassador Kenzo Tanaka, now serving as the first High Mediator of the Concordat, stood at the central podium. Age had weathered his face further, but his eyes remained sharp and clear. "Honored representatives," he began, his voice carrying naturally through the crystalline acoustics of the chamber. "1 year ago, we witnessed not just the end of an era, but the birth of a new way of thinking. The Harmony Protocol showed us that our differences, technological, biological, philosophical, were not barriers to be overcome, but components of a greater whole." Polar projections appeared above the chamber, showing the unprecedented achievements of the past year. Dead worlds restored through combined environmental technologies, ancient conflicts resolved through neural network diplomacy, and scientific breakthroughs that defied traditional physics. "But perhaps our greatest achievement," Kenzo continued, "has been in proving that cooperation is not just more ethical than conquest, it's more powerful." First Light, now serving as head of scientific integration, floated forward. Their energy form had evolved through constant interaction with other species' technologies, becoming something new yet familiar. "The latest data from the Deep Space Initiative is remarkable," they announced. "The quantum communication network now extends to 90% of known space. Species that once fought over resources are now sharing technological innovations. The galaxy's combined scientific output has increased by 700%. Admiral Nexus 7, their cybernetic form now incorporating elements from multiple species technologies, added, and military incidents have decreased by 85%. When every species is connected, when we all benefit from each other's advances, the very concept of interstellar warfare becomes obsolete." Dr. Yuki Himura, her prosthetics now a showcase of hybrid technology, stepped forward next. "But we're not here today just to celebrate our past achievements. The Harmony Protocol was just the beginning. Today, We propose the next step in our evolution as a galactic society. The chamber's hollow projectors activated again, displaying a structure that defied conventional understanding. It wasn't just a space station or a research facility, but something entirely new. We call it the Unity Nexus, Dr. Himura explained. A physical manifestation of the Harmony Protocol's principles, designed to be built cooperatively by all member species. Not just a place for different technologies to work together, but a crucible for creating entirely new ones. The assembled representatives studied the design with growing excitement. Even those who had lived through the Battle of Sol system were amazed by how far they'd come in understanding and implementing hybrid technologies. Think of it, Rhea addressed the chamber. A year ago, we were all separate, believing our way was the only way. Now we understand that true strength lies not in purity, but in harmony. Not in conquest, but in cooperation. Zelker stepped forward, his white scales gleaming. The Empire spent millennia trying to impose order through force. In a single year of willing cooperation, we've achieved more than all those centuries of conquest. The chamber erupted in discussion, representatives from former enemy species working together to refine and improve the Unity Nexus concept. The neural network hummed with shared excitement and creative energy. As the session continued, Rhea found herself back at the observation deck, watching the endless stream of ships arriving at Unity Station. Each vessel represented a species that had chosen to join this great experiment in cooperation. Each light in the distance was a star around which new possibilities were being born. You know, Zelker said, joining her at the window. We thought we were coming to Earth to end a threat to Imperial power. Instead, we became part of something far greater. That's humanity's real gift to the galaxy, Rhea replied. Not our technology or our adaptability, but our ability to imagine something better. To look at the way things are and say what if. Beyond the station, the stars seemed brighter somehow, as if reflecting the hope of this new age. The galaxy had entered its next great phase of evolution, not through conflict or conquest, but through the simple, revolutionary act of working together. The age of empires was over. The age of harmony had begun. And somewhere in the vast chambers of Unity Station, humans and aliens worked side by side, imagining what impossible dreams they would make real next. She activated a final hologram, showing the complete solar system defense plan. Layers of overlapping technologies, each enhancing the others in ways that violated traditional military doctrine. We're not just building weapons, we're rewriting the rules of what's possible. The coalition members studied the plans, their initial skepticism giving way to cautious optimism. Even the most conservative among them could see the potential in this new approach. We will need to coordinate perfectly, Admiral Nexus 7 noted. Different species, different command structures, different combat philosophies. All must work as one. Which is why we've prepared this, Kenzo said, revealing a neural interface crown. Adapted from Nexilian technology, enhanced with Centaurian crystals, and powered by human quantum processors. Complete tactical integration across all coalition forces. He placed the crown on his head, and suddenly every being in the chamber felt a gentle presence at the edge of their consciousness. Not intrusive, but connecting, unifying, sharing. The Empire believes they face a primitive species and a handful of rebellious allies, Kenzo said, his words echoing both audibly and through the neural link. Instead, they will encounter something unprecedented, a true coalition, thinking and fighting as one. First Light's form pulsed with determination. The Andromedian Collective commits fully to this alliance. As does the Nexilian Confederation, Admiral Nexus 7 declared. One by one, the representatives pledged their support, their minds linking through the interface, barriers of species and culture falling away before the shared purpose. As the coalition solidified its plans, far-range sensors detected more Empire ships gathering. The greatest fleet in galactic history was assembling, intent on crushing this upstart alliance. But in the chambers beneath Earth's mountains, in the orbital facilities circling its planets, and in the hidden bases scattered throughout its system, something new was taking shape. Not just a military force, but a revolution in how species could work together. The Empire was coming to end a threat. Instead, they would witness the birth of a new era in galactic history, assuming, of course, that the Coalition's gamble paid off. 3 weeks to prepare. 3 weeks to perfect technologies that defied physics as the Empire understood it. 3 weeks to train thousands of beings from different species to fight as one. The countdown to either devastation or revolution had begun. Grand Admiral Zelker of the Zeraxian Empire stood on the command deck of the Imperial Wrath, the largest battleship ever constructed in known space. Around his flagship, over 300 capital ships moved in perfect formation, their hulls gleaming with energy shields and weapon arrays. "Status of the World Breaker weapons," he commanded. His scales darkened to deep purple with anticipation. "All 5 are charged and ready, Grand Admiral," his weapons officer reported. "Targeting solutions plotted for Earth and its major colonies." Zelker's secondary eyes focused on the tactical display, showing their target solar system. The humans and their pathetic coalition would learn the price of defying the Empire. His primary eyes narrowed at the strange readings already coming from the system. "Multiple anomalies detected," announced his science officer. "Energy signatures don't match any known configurations." "Of course they don't," Zelker replied. "These humans corrupt pure technology with their chaotic combinations. No matter. No defense can withstand the combined might of." "Incoming transmission," interrupted his communications officer. "It's being broadcast on all frequencies simultaneously." The holographic display activated without waiting for permission. Ambassador Kinzo Tanaka appeared, his expression calm despite the armada approaching his world. "Grand Admiral Zelker," he said, "the Terran Defense Coalition offers you one final opportunity to withdraw." Laughter rippled through the Imperial Bridge. Zelker's scale shifted to amber with amusement. "You face the largest fleet ever assembled, human. We bring weapons that can crack your planet's core. And you speak of withdrawal?" "We speak of choice," Kinzo replied. "What follows will change the galaxy forever. The Empire can be part of that change or a victim of it." "Enough." Zelker's scales flushed red. "You will watch as we do." The transmission cut off abruptly as the first wave of coalition attacks began. But they weren't weapons, at least, not any weapons the Empire had ever encountered. Waves of quantum distortion rippled through space, their patterns defying normal physics. Where they touched Imperial ships, reality itself seemed to hiccup. Weapon systems fired at random. Navigation computers displayed impossible coordinates. "What is this?" Zelker demanded as chaos spread through his perfect formation. Deep in Earth's strategic command, Dr. Yuki Himura monitored the quantum disruption field's effect. "Phase 1 successful," she reported. "Their technological orthodoxy makes them vulnerable to quantum uncertainty manipulation." Admiral Nexus 7's cybernetic consciousness flowed through the Coalition's neural network, coordinating their combined fleet's response. Deploying gravity lances now. Massive cannons emerged from hidden positions in the asteroid belt. They fired not energy or projectiles, but concentrated streams of distorted gravity. Imperial ships caught in the beams found their own mass used against them, their mighty hulls crumpling like paper. "Impossible," Zelker shouted as a quarter of his fleet was crushed into artificial singularities. "Target Earth. Launch the World Breakers." 5 planet-killing weapons activated, their power building to apocalyptic levels. But as they prepared to fire, something extraordinary happened. First Light's voice echoed through the Coalition command network, initiating Harmony Protocol. Throughout the solar system, different technologies suddenly synchronized. Centaurian crystals pulsed in perfect rhythm with human quantum processors. Nexilian neural networks merged with Andromedan energy matrices. And in high orbit around Earth, thousands of seemingly separate defense platforms transformed. They didn't just combine, they transcended. Individual technologies ceased to exist, replaced by something entirely new. Something that defied conventional understanding of physics and engineering. The World Breakers fired. 5 beams of absolute destruction lancing toward Earth. They met the harmony field and vanished. Not deflected, not absorbed, but transformed. Their apocalyptic energy was caught in a web of unified technologies and redirected through dimensions the Empire's scientists had never imagined. By the First Empire, Zelker whispered as he watched his ultimate weapons dissipate like smoke. But the coalition wasn't finished. The Harmony Protocol wasn't just defensive. As billions of quantum particles achieved perfect synchronization, as gravity fields merged with crystal matrices and neural networks, as human innovation connected technologies never meant to coexist, something new emerged. Space itself began to ripple around the Imperial fleet, not with destructive force, but with transformative energy. Ships that had been separate began to quantum entangle. Weapons designed to destroy found their fundamental purpose altered at the subatomic level. "What are you doing to us?" Zelker demanded, watching as his mighty fleet was enveloped in waves of transformative energy. Ambassador Kinzo's voice returned, calm as ever. "We're showing you a better way. The Harmony Protocol doesn't just combine technologies. It reveals the underlying unity of all things, including us." Through their neural link, Dr. Himura explained to the coalition forces, this was always the true purpose. Not to destroy the Empire, but to transform it. To show them what's possible when we stop fighting against unity and embrace it instead. Imperial sailors and officers found their consciousness gently touched by the harmony field. Not invaded or controlled, but offered a glimpse of something greater. They felt the neural network that connected the coalition, experienced the joy of technologies working in perfect synchronization, understood in their deepest beings that the age of conquest was over. Not through destruction, but through transcendence. Zelker fell to his knees as the Harmony Protocol reached the Imperial wrath. His mighty flagship, designed for war and conquest, transformed into something else, a bridge between what was and what could be. "You could have destroyed us," he realized, scales shifting to the pure white of revelation. "We could have," Kinzo agreed. "But humanity's greatest strength isn't our ability to destroy. It's our ability to imagine something better, to take separate, conflicting pieces and find the harmony within them." Throughout the Imperial fleet, weapons powered down. Ships that had come to conquer now hung in space, their crews forever changed by what they had experienced. The greatest armada in history had been defeated not by superior firepower, but by a fundamental transformation of what was possible. In Earth's strategic command, the coalition leaders watched as the Empire's mighty fleet surrendered. Not to force of arms, but to a new understanding of reality itself. "And so it begins," Dr. Himura said softly. "The real revolution. First Flight's energy pattern swirled with joy, not the end of conflict, but the beginning of harmony." Admiral Nexus 7 finished. The Battle of Sol system would be remembered not for its destruction, but for its transformation. The day humanity proved that the greatest power wasn't the ability to destroy worlds, but the vision to imagine new ones. The Empire had come to end a threat. Instead, they became part of a transformation that would reshape the galaxy forever. "Humanity has always excelled at achieving the impossible," Jasmine said. "We've had help, though not always willingly given. Every species that tried to conquer Earth left behind pieces of their technology. We studied them, combined them, improved them. Which is why I am here," the Zeraxian scientist interjected. His scales shifted colors rapidly, indicating agitation. "I am Chief Researcher Xylax. What you've done with our technology, it violates every principle of proper development." Jasmine's expression hardened. "Proper development? Your empire has conquered dozens of worlds, enforcing your view of how species should evolve. We chose a different path. When the Centaurians attacked Earth 50 years ago, they thought their crystalline technology was unbeatable. Now we use their own quantum matrices to power our defense grid. And the Mreth gravitational weapons?" First Light inquired. "Reversed and enhanced. We didn't just copy their technology, we understood it, improved it, combined it with other systems in ways their creators never imagined." The Nexilian admiral's cybernetic implants pulsed faster. You speak of the impossible. Different technologies, different physical principles. They cannot simply be combined. Jasmine walked to a wall panel and pressed her hand against it. The office transformed around them, revealing a vast underground facility stretching for kilometers in every direction. Enormous machines hummed with power, their designs an organic blend of multiple alien technologies. "Welcome to Project Synthesis," she said. "Humanity's answer to the question, what happens when you take every weapon ever used against us and turn them into something new?" The assembled aliens watched in stunned silence as human scientists worked on devices that defied conventional understanding. Centaurian crystals pulsed with Mreth gravitational fields, while Nexilian neural networks interfaced with Xeraxian quantum processors. "Impossible," Chief Researcher Xylax whispered. "No," Jasmine corrected. "Necessary. Earth has been attacked 17 times in the past 50 years. Each time, we've grown stronger. Each piece of wreckage, each failed invasion, has been a gift, teaching us, preparing us." "For what?" First Light asked. "For the moment when we stop hiding. When we show the galaxy that humanity will not be conquered, will not be colonized, will not be enslaved. We're offering you all a choice now, alliance or opposition." The Nexilian admiral's mechanical arms whirred. "You're proposing a defensive coalition?" "More than that," Jasmine replied. "A new way forward. Share knowledge willingly instead of hoarding it. Work together instead of conquering. The alternative." She gestured to a holographic display showing the Xeraxian fleet's retreat. "Well, you've seen what happens to those who choose to be our enemies. The Empire will not take this insult lightly," Xylax warned. "They will come with everything they have." Jasmine's smile was sharp. "We're counting on it. Tell me, Chief Researcher, why do you think we let their scout fleet escape? Why show them just enough of our capabilities to frighten them, but not everything?" Understanding dawned in Xylax's reptilian eyes. "You want them to return. You want them to bring their full might against Earth. Because when they do," Jasmine confirmed, "when they commit their forces, gather their allies, and strike with everything they have, that's when we'll show them what humanity is truly capable of. That's when the galaxy will understand why every species that's ever fought humans has warned others. Once you start a war with Earth, there's no going back." The aliens exchanged glances, centuries of interstellar politics and power structures crumbling in the face of humanity's revelations. "You have my attention, Director Patel," First Light said finally. "The Andromedian Collective would be interested in discussing this alliance." "As would the Nexilian Confederation," the Admiral added. "Our neural networks combined with your innovative approach, the possibilities are intriguing." Only Xylax remained silent, his scale shifting through complex patterns of thought. Finally, he spoke. "I represent a minority within the Empire, scientists who have long argued against our policy of conquest. Perhaps it's time for a change." Jasmine nodded, satisfaction evident in her bearing. "Then let's begin. Earth's defenses are prepared for the Empire's retaliation, but the future we're building will need more than weapons. It will need understanding, cooperation, and the recognition that together, we can achieve things none of our species could manage alone." As the conference continued deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, humanity's hidden arsenal stood ready, not just the weapons and defenses they'd created, but the alliances they were forming. The galaxy was changing, and Earth was no longer just another primitive world waiting to be conquered. It was the catalyst for a revolution that would reshape the stars themselves. Ambassador Kenzo Tanaka stood before the newly formed Terran Defense Coalition Council, his weathered face illuminated by the soft glow of holographic displays. Representatives from 7 alien species filled the circular chamber, their diverse forms a testament to the unprecedented nature of this alliance. "The Xeraxian Empire has mobilized their primary battle fleets," he announced, gesturing to a tactical display showing massive force movements across the galaxy. "Our deep space monitoring stations detect at least 300 capital ships gathering in the Proxima sector." First Light of the Andromedian Collective rippled with concerned energy patterns. "Such a force has not been assembled since the Great Expansion." They mean to make an example of Earth. Let them try, rumbled Admiral Nexus 7, his cybernetic components pulsing with anticipated combat protocols. The Nexilian commander had personally overseen the integration of their neural net battle systems with Earth's quantum defense grid. They expect to find a single world. They will face a united front. Kinzo nodded, but his expression remained grave. Unity is precisely what we need to discuss. Our individual technologies are powerful, but Earth's research teams have proven that true strength lies in synthesis. He activated another hologram, this one showing the massive construction projects occurring throughout the solar system. Orbital platforms combining Centaurian crystal matrices with human AI systems. Asteroidal bases housing hybrid weapons that merge Mreth gravitational technology with Earth's nuclear physics. And most importantly, the quantum communication network that allowed instantaneous coordination across vast distances. The Empire's greatest weakness, Kinzo continued, is their rigid adherence to technological orthodoxy. They believe certain combinations are impossible, certain principles cannot be merged. This blindness is our advantage. Chief Researcher Xilax, now representing the growing reform movement within the Xeraxian Empire, raised a scaled hand. You speak truth, Ambassador. But there is another factor we must consider. The Empire has begun deploying their world-breaker weapons. A hush fell over the chamber. World breakers were planet-killing weapons, forbidden by every civilized species in the galaxy. Their use represented a level of escalation that even the Empire had rarely attempted. There desperate came a new voice. Dr. Yuki Himura, Earth's lead scientist for Project Synthesis, stepped into the light. Her prosthetic legs, a personal testament to humanity's mastery of biomechanical integration, moved with fluid grace. They know we've surpassed them technologically. This is their only remaining advantage. She gestured, and the holographic display shifted to show a new design. This is why we've developed the Harmony Protocol, a complete integration of all our combined technologies, operating as a single unified system. The alien representatives leaned forward, studying the complex schematics with varying degrees of awe and concern. The design defied conventional understanding, merging principles that should have been mutually exclusive. Impossible, whispered a Centaurian observer, their crystalline form vibrating with disbelief. That's what they said about our quantum mesh, Yuki replied with a slight smile. And our gravity lance. And our neural crystal processors. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology, it's our ability to imagine beyond established limits. Admiral Nexus 7's mechanical eyes whirred as they analyzed the design. The energy requirements alone would drain a star. Which is why we've built these, Kinzo interjected, revealing another set of schematics. Dyson swarm collectors around Mercury, powered by Andromedian solar compression technology. Energy will not be our limiting factor. First Light's tendrils swirled with excitement. You've achieved in months what our species debated for centuries. The implications are precisely why the Empire must not be allowed to stop us, Kinzo finished. This coalition represents more than defense. It's the next step in galactic evolution. Species working together, sharing knowledge, advancing collectively rather than through conquest. The chamber erupted in discussion, different species debating the philosophical and practical implications of such unprecedented cooperation. Kinzo let them talk, watching as ancient rivals found common ground in the face of a greater threat. Finally, he raised his hand for silence. We have 3 weeks before the Empire's fleet arrives. In that time, we must complete the Harmony Protocol's integration and train our combined forces to operate as one. It's not enough time, Xilax warned. The Empire's tacticians have millennia of experience. But they've never faced anything like us, Dr. Himura countered. Their experience is their weakness. They'll expect us to fight conventionally, to follow the established rules of warfare. Instead, they'll face weapons and tactics they've never imagined. High Commander Naira Voss stood motionless on the command deck of the Stellar Dominance, her iridescent scales reflecting the soft blue glow of holographic displays. The Ziraxian Empire's most advanced scout fleet hung in the darkness of space, cloaked and silent, observing the unremarkable yellow star and its third planet. Another primitive world, First Officer Cross remarked, his secondary eyes focusing on the sensor readings while his primary set remained fixed on the tactical display. Atmospheric composition ideal for colonization. Abundant resources. Native species still burning fossil fuels. Naira's facial ridges shifted in what her species considered a smile. The Ziraxian Empire had conquered dozens of such worlds in their expansion across the galaxy. This one would be no different. Launch the reconnaissance drones, she ordered. Standard protocol. Full spectrum analysis. The Stellar Dominants deployed 12 stealth drones, their quantum-shifted hulls invisible to any known detection systems. They streaked toward Earth's atmosphere, their mission to gather detailed intelligence on the planet's defenses and technological capabilities. High Commander, Communications Officer Vex called out, her voice carrying an unusual note of concern. We're receiving a transmission. Origin unknown. Naira's ridge plates lifted in surprise. Unknown? We're running silent. Our position is masked by 3 layers of stealth fields. Nevertheless, Vex replied, the transmission is aimed directly at us. Display, Naira commanded, her claws clicking against the polished deck as she moved closer to the main view screen. The holographic display shimmered and resolved into a figure that made several bridge officers step back involuntarily. It was a Centaurian, but unlike any Naira had ever seen. Where their species was known for pristine crystalline bodies and flowing movements, this one was shattered and reformed. Cracks ran through its crystalline form, sealed with what appeared to be crude metallic patches. One entire section had been replaced with cybernetic components that pulsed with an unhealthy red glow. I am Crystal Songbroken. The Centaurian's voice resonated through the bridge, carrying harmonics of pain and warning. Turn back, Ziraxian fleet. This system is forbidden. Naira's secondary heart quickened, but she maintained her commanding posture. You address High Commander Naira Voss of the Ziraxian Empire's 17th Scout Fleet. Identify your vessel and purpose. My vessel is destroyed. My crew is dead. I broadcast from a salvaged emergency beacon, warning others like you. The humans, the transmission crackled. The humans are not what they appear. A single survivor cannot deter an Imperial fleet, Naira replied dismissively. Clear this channel, or your drones are already lost. Crystal Songbroken interrupted. Aren't they? Naira's head snapped toward the tactical display. The 12 drone signatures had vanished. Report, she barked. No contact with reconnaissance units. Cross confirmed, all 4 eyes now wide with concern. No debris detected. They're just gone. The humans let me live. The Centaurian continued, to warn others. Not out of mercy, but calculation. Each species that attacks them makes them stronger. They learn. They adapt. The transmission cut off abruptly, replaced by a new signal. The holographic display shifted to show a human female in what appeared to be a military uniform, her dark skin contrasting with silver-white hair tied back severely from her face. Ziraxian vessel, she spoke in perfect Imperial standard. This is Director Jasmine Patel of Earth's Unified Defense Command. You have entered restricted space. Your stealth systems are compromised. Your reconnaissance drones have been contained. You have one opportunity to withdraw. Naira's scales flushed with anger. You dare threaten an Imperial fleet? Your species still fights with chemical projectiles. Your space presence is limited to your own lunar satellite. Director Patel's expression didn't change. Your intelligence is outdated, High Commander. Deliberately so. We've been watching, waiting, preparing. Every species that's tried to conquer Earth has contributed to our advancement. The Centaurians gave us quantum crystalline computing. The Mreth taught us gravitational manipulation. The hegemony's failed invasion left us with biomechanical integration technology. As she spoke, new signatures appeared on the tactical display. Platforms emerging from concealment around Earth's orbit. Ships rising from the dark side of the moon. All of them incorporating technology that should have been far beyond human capabilities. Impossible, Cross whispered. They're showing signs of Class 9 technology integration. Their development timeline suggests they shouldn't be past Class 3. We don't develop like other species, Patel explained, almost gentle in her delivery. We don't follow the expected paths. We take what works, discard what doesn't, and create things your scientists would consider abominations of technology. We split the atom before we cured the common cold. We achieved quantum computing while still using internal combustion engines. Naira's training warred with her instincts. The Empire never retreated, never showed weakness. But everything about this situation felt wrong. You have 30 seconds to begin withdrawal, Patel continued. After that, we will demonstrate exactly how much we've learned from those who came before you. This is some kind of deception, Naira declared, but uncertainty had crept into her voice. A primitive species cannot. Multiple alarms blared across the bridge. The tactical display exploded with new signatures as massive structures simply appeared around the Zeraxian fleet, emerging from what sensors indicated was folded space. What you're seeing, Patel explained, is a quantum mesh defense grid. Technology we developed by combining Centaurian crystal matrices with our own theoretical physics. Your shields cannot stop it. Your weapons cannot damage it. And your engines cannot outrun it. The structures began to pulse with energy, creating visible distortions in space-time itself. Naira felt her scales ripple as fundamental forces began to shift around her ship. Final warning, High Commander, Patel said. The next invasion fleet will find something far worse waiting for them. We've learned that lesson well. Survival requires not just defense, but deterrence. Naira Voss, highest-ranked commander in the Zeraxian scout fleets, recipient of the Imperial Star of Conquest, made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. Fleet Command, she broadcast, begin withdrawal procedures. Immediate full retreat. As the Zeraxian ships engaged their FTL drives, carefully monitored by Earth's defense grid, Director Patel's final words followed them into hyperspace. Welcome to the new galaxy, High Commander. Humanity is awake, and we remember every species that's tried to conquer us. We suggest you spread the word. Earth is not a target. We're not victims. We're the consequence. The stellar dominance fled into deep space, carrying with it a message that would send shockwaves through the Empire. Humanity wasn't just ready for the galaxy. They had been preparing for war since the first alien ship entered their space. And they had learned from every single attempt to subjugate them. The age of easy conquest was over. The real question was, what would humanity do with their hard-won power? The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see if the students would become the very thing they had fought against. Director Jasmine Patel stood in the heart of Earth's Strategic Command Center, buried deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. The vast chamber hummed with activity as operators monitored the global defense grid. Holographic displays showed the retreating Zeraxian fleet, their energy signatures diminishing as they fled toward the outer solar system. Send word to all outposts, she ordered. I want every listening post beyond Neptune at maximum alert. The Zeraxians won't take this humiliation lightly. Captain Marcus Rodriguez, her chief tactical officer, nodded grimly. Already done, Director. The quantum mesh is fully deployed, and our deep space sensors are tracking their withdrawal vector. Jasmine allowed herself a small smile. Years of preparation, decades of reverse engineering alien technology, and centuries of humanity's innate drive to survive had led to this moment. The Zeraxians had expected to find a primitive species. Instead, they'd encountered a civilization that had turned every previous invasion attempt into an opportunity for advancement. Director, a voice called from the communication station. We're receiving multiple incoming transmissions. They're from various species in nearby sectors. Put them through to my private chamber, Jasmine ordered. Captain Rodriguez, you have command of defensive operations. In her secure office, Jasmine activated the quantum entanglement communicator, technology derived from salvaged Centaurian crystals. Multiple holographic figures materialized, a towering Andromedian with flowing tendrils of light, A Nexilian admiral whose cybernetic implants pulsed with nervous energy, and most surprisingly, a Xeraxian wearing the insignia of their science directory. Director Patel, the Andromedian, spoke first, its voice resonating like wind through crystal. I am First Light of the Andromedian Collective. Your demonstration against the Xeraxian fleet has attracted attention. Precisely as intended, Jasmine replied calmly. Earth has remained quiet long enough. It's time the galaxy understood our true capabilities. The Nexilian admiral leaned forward, his mechanical eyes whirring as they focused. We monitored the engagement. Your quantum mesh defense system, it shouldn't be possible. The energy requirements alone.